Welcome to A's Linguistics. This channel is about all things linguistic. So let's see what we've got today. What is the difference between an accent and a dialect? Yeah, it's a very good question, and if you're just here to get your answer in 15 seconds, let me help you with that. Accent is how we pronounce the language. Dialect is accent and more. So a dialect consists of how we pronounce the language, which is the accent, that is phonetics and phonology, but it also has to do with grammar, which is syntax and morphology, semantics, and the other aspects of the language. But wait, I have more. And I'm not sure you can get away with that 15-second definition. Well, according to David Crystal, accent is a cumulative auditory effect of those features of pronunciation which identify where a person is from regionally or socially. Linguistics literature emphasizes that the term refers to pronunciation only and is thus distinct from dialect, which refers to grammar and vocabulary as well. So the gist of this is that accent is pronunciation, dialect is pronunciation plus grammar and vocab. That's a 30-second answer, but I assure you, if you keep watching, there is more interesting information. Now we did a couple of videos on variationist linguistics. If you want to use the language of variationist linguistics, accent and dialect are both varieties of language. So if you want to avoid using the word accent or dialect because you're not sure which is the right word, you can instead use the word variety. So instead of using this accent of English, you can say this variety of English. You could also say an accent is a variety that is phonetically and or phonologically different from other varieties. Dialect, on the other hand, refers to a variety which is grammatically and perhaps lexically, which is the vocabulary, distinct from other varieties. So, okay, can you think of two words in English that are pronounced with different accents? Okay, so in Boston and New York, they have their own accent, which means they pronounce words differently. But like, for example, coffee, they pronounce like coffee, coffee.
My kids would really hate me without coffee.
We love to say coffee the real New York way, coffee.
And you don't want to know what happens to me when I don't have my coffee.
That's an accent, so you can speak about the New York accent. But if I say that two people in English, for example, one of them says, I did it last night, which is the regular standard English, and the other person says, I done it last night. So this has nothing to do with pronunciation. It is beyond pronunciation. It's about the grammar, the syntax, right? Now we are speaking about two different dialects of English. So in every language, there are regional accents. It means depending on where you go, like I just mentioned, New York. So New York is a region geographically. There's a geographical variety. So in that sense, accent can be a geographical variety, right? So now we can use the technical language.
I learned a lot about democracy in the schoolyards of Brooklyn, New York. It was a great experience.
So we can speak about the American accent.
I was learning all about cameras and lighting, I'd go and not even a few years, it was months. It was months. He's like, no, this actually worked, this worked. That's just how I always work.
British accent.
Happy Christmas. 25 years ago, my grandfather broadcast the first of these Christmas messages.
And as we all look forward to the start of a new decade, it's worth remembering that it is often the small steps, not the giant leaps, that bring about the most lasting change. And so I wish you all a very happy Christmas.
Or Manchester.
I'll have a think about it. Are you going with her? Whether the weather is cold. I need to drink some water. A letter arrive for you.
Australian.
I love the mystery of acting, so I love whatever it takes to create a performance sort of should be kept secret.
You get given the responsibility to tell somebody's story. If it's true, you got to bust your balls for it. You got to go the extra mile.
Canadian accent.
Something about my hair, something about my mustache, or something about the way I say this word. It's like house and down and around and south.
That's very rare even in Canada. So guys, this is rare even in Canada.
I think it's important to have integrity in your work and do what you do. But at the end, once it's done, I can't control if the people like it, love it, what.
You know, he came off after his monologue, and I think, you know, what you want to see in that moment is a friend or, you know, somebody that you know, but instead it was, he saw me.
So the point here is accents are usually attributed to certain geographical places, right? But then you might get confused in the sense that, for example, when we talk about the US, there are different accents in the US.
I'm about 16 years old. We're in Southwest Houston. My dad says, let's go get some stocking stuffers, which means we're going to go to Kmart and get a bunch of nail clippers and Q-tips and stuff.
So when you talk about the US South, you could talk about this Southern dialect, or you could talk about a Southern accent. So it seems that sometimes the word accent and dialect are interchangeable. So in this case, or in similar cases, you can use them interchangeably. And why is that? Does it mean accent is the same as dialect? When you say a Southern accent, you're just focusing on their accent. So the focus of what you're talking about is their accent. But when you talk about dialect, it means you're having a more comprehensive approach. You have the entirety of the language in mind. So don't be surprised if there are scenarios in which you can, the two words, accent and dialect, are used interchangeably. Again, if you're confused, you can use the technical word variety. So there's another scenario in which we use the word accent, and that's about foreign accents. So what do we mean when we say he has a thick German accent? Obviously, he is not speaking German. He's speaking, for example, English with a German accent. So that's a different context in which we use the word accent.
Surprise yourself with what is possible. Remember that openness always involves risks.
So when somebody speaks English with a German accent, it means they are probably bringing the phonological aspects of German into English. Or you could say she has a French accent.
I would like to buy a hamburger. I would like to buy a hamburger.
So this guy obviously is an American actor. Obviously this was a joke.
Look, I think the question is not to be shocked, but to try to understand and address this issue.
So in this context, when we are speaking about foreign accents, we can say she has a German accent, or he has a thick German accent, or he has a French accent. But you can't say she has a German dialect, you know? You see, I just talked about the context in which the word accent and dialect can be used interchangeably. But obviously in this case, you can't do that. So you can't say, oh, she speaks English with a German dialect. That doesn't make sense. Obviously, she may speak a dialect of German because she's German, and maybe she's from a particular city. Most probably she's educated and she speaks standard German. Probably she also speaks a dialect of German, but that has nothing to do with her English. In English, she may have a German accent. Oh, you could have a Spanish accent in English.
It's not me, it's written here. I hate Jimmy Kimmel. He has squinty eyes and a gape mouth that never really closes.
The word chalet, or the word camp, or the word cabin, or the word cottage are probably pronounced the same across Canada. But so those different varieties of Canadian English are not different accents necessarily, but they're different dialects because they actually use a different lexical item for the same concept.
Thanks for your time and attention, and see you again soon.